Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hear Me Out podcast. It's your host, Kaya Mara, and we're with Tolu, and she is joining us for a very, very special episode today. A little bit about Tolu. So don't be deceived. She is also a podcaster. So she's used to this. maybe not seeing her face, but Tolu is not an amateur. She knows what she's doing here. But yeah, Tolu is a whole babe. So I'm gonna let her tell a little bit about herself. As you guys can see, she's looking good.
Oh,
Even
thank
matching
you.
the aesthetic here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe
I wasn't
more
in the
than you
spirit.
are.
But I'll let Tolu introduce herself, and yeah, we'll get into it.
Great. Hey everyone, my name is Tolu, as Kai said. Tolu Ajayi.
See, I didn't want to butcher Tolu's name. So
Like
I just
Tolu?
I
I
just
was like-
stopped there. I was really gonna, when you're about to say something, but
You're
it's
like-
like the word is just dissecting. your head. I said, no, let me not go there.
And it's 5 letters. But anyways. No, but my name is Tolu Ajayi, and what am I? I'm growing in who I am, so I won't really box myself in to anything, but I would say I'm a multifaceted young lady, a change agent looking to create impact in the world. And one thing I am very passionate about is helping people explore who they are and grow in their identity to become their full selves and to reach their fullest potential, especially within the workplace. So I'm a organizational psychology babe.
Okay.
As you will. But yeah, that stems across many things, many industries, and yeah.
No, Tolu, it feels like you prepared that.
I did it.
I know, but it feels like you prepared that, and I'm thinking I actually need to work on my intros and in my bio because I just think,
hi.
it's me.
No, it's tough. It's tough, especially when you do a lot of different things and my work or like what I do isn't like my full self, and so I'm just starting off my journey in that sense, and there's so many other things about me. So
no, I really like how you put that together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
note that down. You can try, but
okay. As you guys can see, Tolu is a little spicy. She forgot to add that.
a little spicy.
But anyways, so the topic for today is about showing up for people. There's not a full definition, but we hear it a lot. There's always Twitter discourse, a lot of Twitter discourse, TikTok discourse, social media discourse of showing up for people and what that means, what that looks like, what it feels like to have not had people show up for you that you consider close to you, and just like navigating the different personalities and the different expectations that people have in a relationship. And obviously we'll go into like one of the bigger topics being birthday trauma. And I feel like it wasn't until last year, probably around when like a lot of birthdays were happening in the summer, that I really realized how much that affects people unknowingly, just because of miscommunication and things like that, and like pent-up
wrong
trauma.
expectations.
Wrong expectations. So many things happening. And I'm just like, this is, on the surface it could look immature or like childish, but it's actually very, very important. Something to discuss. So that's what I want us to get into.
No, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
So to kind of usher into it, so I just want to know what comes to your mind when you think of like showing up for yourself. Actually, not even for yourself. Showing up for other people and how other people show up for you. What comes to mind?
Yeah, I think a lot of things honestly come to mind, but first up is consistency and communication. And consistency in the sense of if someone, you don't want to be unstable when it comes to showing up, because I think that says a lot about where you place someone in your life and how much, not necessarily how much you care for them, but prioritizing them. Exactly. And so consistency in communication is one of the biggest things, because for example, I may not be able to show up for you in the way that I have been based on my capacity, but I can communicate that to you. And I think that's where setting the right expectation that then comes in for that other person that you're trying to show up for. So for example, if I'm going through something and a friend is used to me calling them frequently or communicating with them frequently, but I let them know like, oh, like I'm just going through a really busy season. I'm not available as much as I used to be. then that communication then sets an expectation from them of how often to hear from me. And showing up then means that, okay, they can give me space, that the space that I need. So they're showing up for me, and I'm also setting the right expectation for how much I can show up for them. So I think that that's one of the big things that comes to mind when I think of showing up.
No,
And
I
especially
that.
like in different seasons as well. It
Yeah.
does vary. It's important to know that showing up changes per season for people.
Yeah, no, that's a big thing, and I feel like in our age like range, I feel like that's what we've now been discovering
Yeah.
of like when so many things are shifting and changing, the time that we used to have and like the resources we used to have available to us
Proximity
or
as
not.
well.
Yes, proximity.
Proximity is a big one. Learning
Yes.
how, rediscovering how to show up for people when you're still close in heart, but not close in space to them.
No,
You're not
that's-
sharing the same space.
Yeah, that's a
right?
big thing, especially like for me.
Yeah, for me as well. For me as well.
I'm a big, and I tell my friends this all the time. I'm a big like out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because when I say out of sight, out of mind, it means that I know my capacity and that the people within my like sphere and my immediate environment is what like I really want to pour into the most, and it just so happens that it's consistent and like I'm not kind of losing people and moving around, so it's been convenient for me, to be fair. But when you're kind of not in that sphere, I'm not engaging with you all the time, then to me it's maybe we're just not at the same place in life anymore, and like that's kind of like a life transition, and like something's fading out. So for me, like out of sight, out of mind has kind of worked, but for other people it won't necessarily work, because like the people that are in my sight are also the people that are like connected to my purpose, that I know that I've confirmed, and like I'm walking in the same life journey as, so it makes it
easier.
Yeah, it's easier, and it's more important that I put more energy there, whereas there are people that are like not in my immediate environment, as much as I still like love them and still can connect with them, because we're no longer, like when you're in high school, like
you're doing everything
you're all
together.
aiming for the same thing. You're all aiming to graduate.
Nothing.
Like even when you're in university, despite going in different fields, like you're still all aiming to graduate, still having the same things, all aiming to get a job. Whereas now when you graduate, one person could be aiming to, climb up the corporate ladder. One person is starting their own business. One person is moving away. One person is starting a family. So it's just like those dynamics get very, very interesting. But I feel like even beyond that, like I've had to realize how my environment shaped me to just show up for people in general. And I didn't like, I understood it to an extent, but I didn't actually realize it until I started seeing how other people's environment shaped them. And so when I say this, so like, if you know my family, like I come from a big family, as you know, and we celebrate everything. Like we celebrate a birthday, a graduation, like you got your teeth removed. Like we'll
celebrate that.
We'll throw you a party. Like we can do big celebrations, and like that's just a norm in my family, and it feels appropriate. But like when it comes to just the everyday, like calling and checking up on people, that was never a norm. That was never a thing. And so for me, it was just like, and I also love, like my love language is giving gifts, right? So like celebrations, that like I grew up in that environment, and giving gifts just works for me. So to me, that's how I was used to showing up for people. But now, like when you talk about proximity, no longer being the same proximity, or just, people getting busy and life changes, and not establishing that skill of, calling and checking up on people. Now it's just like, okay, do you still care about me? But I'm just like, wait, like what changed? Like I've been doing the same thing, right? And to me, I didn't realize that this was something that like they were used to and I wasn't used to. Like I didn't understand the disconnect, and I didn't understand how my environment like trained me up to like show up for people in a specific way, and how other people's environment trained them to show up for people in another specific way, and how that could clash. I don't know if you
when you say that, it brings to mind just like being love language is one. Like when you're dealing with different people receive love in different ways. And so listening to people, seeing areas that there's gaps where you can actually fill, like that's one of the ways that you can actually be more paying attention basically to the people that you care. And when you care about people, you will naturally pay attention to those things. So I think when you say like, seeing people and like not understanding like where you went wrong, I think it's also just paying attention and like also just asking like, I've noticed that I'm not hearing from you as often, or like you've just been like kind of distant or just acting a little strange or off, and I'm just like, I want to know what's up. Like, let's have a conversation. And that's not always easy. I want to point like these things.
It's almost never easy.
Yeah, it's almost like always theory. Like when we talk about these things, like it's not as, I wouldn't say real. I think it just takes maturity to be on emotional maturity to have those conversations. And like I've had a lot of those, especially through life transitions and stuff like that. Like when there's lots of changes going on, and like it's hard for me personally, it's hard to keep people in the loop of I'm a very like transparent but not vulnerable. So I'll let you know.
I know that one. Yes.
I'll let you know after it's happened.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, like this is what I, but like,
or if you ask me specific questions, I'll tell you, but it's like I won't offer it.
Exactly. Yeah. I need to know that you want to hear it, kind of thing. So like I'm a prompt, like I need to be prompted and I need it to be drawn out of me. So I get that it's hard to have those type of discussions because it's just like, oh, maybe they don't care as much as I thought. But it's really just, again, it comes back to communication and being just honest with it. Because when you care, like, you want to make things work at the end of the day. So whoever, I guess, has the capacity to bring up those conversations, it's best that it happens so that you can, because a lot of the time it's small things that like we're missing, and we just need to be in the know of where to step up and to show up.
But like, can we talk about how hard it actually is to have those conversations?
It's hard. And it's so like once you actually have them, it's like,
because if you like talk about it from my perspective, for me, like obviously I'm working towards being securely attached, but of course, like my starting point was being like avoidant. So of course, like conversations like this were just so hard, and just for a lot of people in general, even if you're not avoidant, even if you're anxious, like there's just a fear associated, a fear of rejection. Heavily associated with having these conversations and doing these things. And we like rationalize it like, oh, but like I'm a guy and like, or like we're grown, like we shouldn't have to talk about this, like they should know, or like I feel too soft.
They should know me.
They should know me, like we've known each other for all these years, or like I'm too emotional if I have to bring these things up. And so we
hard babe, I need to
and you think of also how your friends see you, and like if you come and say like, hey. Like, I actually miss you. Like it feels weird, and it's very, very vulnerable. And I feel like people underestimate how vulnerable it is, and they underestimate how much courage they need and how much like confidence and like security they need to do these things. And sometimes maybe the environment and like the person you're actually trying to communicate these things to isn't as open and as receptive. So like for me, I'm just like if I come in now say these things, like
I feel when you say vulnerable to me in the moment, and I know that's not what it is, it just feels weak. I'm like, I'm not strong enough to just be good on my, like I think it's a protective mechanism for me, like personally. I'm just used to being like I don't, like I'm strong and I don't need to be.
I don't want to come off like needy. I need
exactly
you.
Which is like it really is a problem. I think a lot of people do experience this in different ways, where it's like you don't want to depend on someone so that you're not let down. Right? And it's like I don't want to have expectations of someone so I'm not let down, but it's like it's not a sustainable way to be in relationship. Like you say you're in a relationship, but are you really in relationships if you're not able to open up in the moment? And it's something like my friends have called me out on multiple times, where it's like, oh, you were feeling this way for so long and you couldn't come to me. And I was like, seeing it from that perspective, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was just thinking of myself in this moment. I wasn't thinking of how the other person would feel.
And how this is affecting our relationship as a whole.
Exactly. Where it's like, I could have said something, I could have done something, but you held back from me and I wasn't able to show up for you. Right? So it's like, honestly opening yourself up for other people to actually show up for you. And it's a difficult thing, and it's especially when you've been burnt in the past, but it's something that I think can be learned over time.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's important to note how we're interpreting these situations. If like maybe we're on the receiving end of people not showing up for us, right? And like you said, like you were feeling that type of way, and it's not to say that like what they were doing, even in my case, like what I was doing made sense to me.
Yeah.
But on the other end, it's like how the person interprets it.
Exactly.
And our interpretations, like our like everybody, you know, we can both experience
The same
one
thing,
thing. We can have the same friend, and that friend can go away to school, and how I experience it could be different than how you experience it based on a multitude of factors, right? And so like our interpretations of things are so important, because that's what leads to trauma.
Yeah.
You know, like being traumatized and thinking like this person, like I have so many memories of just like of like observing something and then making an assumption or like making connections of like, oh, this person is doing this because of this, whether it's my race, whether it's like how I look, how I talk, my
they don't like me in
personality.
general.
They don't like me. Like we make a lot of big assumptions, and we need to be so careful about it, because it can like easily lead to trauma, especially when we like don't know what that person is doing, and we don't know the fullness, but we, you know, we put our own labels and stuff on.
And that comes again from lack of communication. That's why it really, a lot of things really boils down to communication and opening yourself up to having conversations, because again, like assumptions make out of you and me. Like it just, it really is just a lowest form of information. And it really also, if you say like, again, my friends have called me on this. You say you trust me, yet you can't trust me to call me out on something, or to let me know like what I'm doing is making you feel, or I guess what I'm not doing is making you feel this way, right? So you need to, I guess, invest in relationships by having vulnerable conversations, even if vulnerability sometimes feels like it's a huge form of intimacy. It feels naked. You feel naked. Like I feel like I'm just raw, like on the table, like, you know, like just, you know, wide open, and it's just like having those conversations, but you come out of it feeling so free much exactly, and you feel like, yeah, you know what, I do have this person. And maybe sometimes you don't, and you can also find that out from conversations, right? But staying in assumptions doesn't take you anywhere. It keeps you in a stuck
and I think
position.
we'll get into it a little bit more later, but I think it's also like good to, like, why are you having these assumptions too? Is this maybe a relationship that isn't actually meant to last this test in time? Like, is this a relationship? Because if you truly love that person, right? Like when you think about your friends, and I think about my friends, like that vulnerability, as much as it is disgusting.
Yeah. No,
like
seriously.
that one. I can do other forms of vulnerability, but
transparency.
Yeah.
You know?
But like as much as it is difficult, like when I think about the certain people that like I'm in relationship with, and like you said, like, are you actually in relationship with them? Like, do you love them? Because people are so quick they can do these things for a partner romantically, but it's like, if you can't do this, personally for me, this is my standard for like guys, if you can't do these kinds of things with your friendships, I don't believe you can do this with me, because that's where
for
it
the
starts.
long term,
because like the friendships and the relationships that you had before meeting your partner is what is going to be that baseline and that template for how you're in relationship with other people, right? So like if you say that you genuinely love and care for this person, why would you not be willing to grow or change or like adjust and like grow with them? You know?
I don't think a lot of people realize that friendships are a tester for like your romantic relationships.
100%.
Like I think a lot of people think, oh, when I get into a romantic relationship, I'm gonna be this way. I'm gonna be. How are you in your friendships right now?
Exactly. You're good. You are in your friend
after that honeymoon phase like dies out. Give it 3 months. You're gonna start replicating those behaviors that you show in your friendships. And so again, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but you need to start like valuing people for who you say they are in your life. And I think that yet again, it comes from some people from trauma. They don't think that other people value them as much, and so they don't show up as much as they should. But I think having a mutual understanding of where you stand in somebody's life, or where you stand in both,
and that's through communication.
Exactly. Then you know how much to show up, and you feel comfortable showing up. You know, because you know, like, this is where I stand, and this is the place I I take in this person's life, and so I need to show up this much for this
Yeah.
person, or
Yeah.
vice versa. Like I need to cool it because
Yeah.
it's not
That's the one.
it's not that deep. Like
That's the one.
it's not that deep. So you need to, and also know when to take a step back as well. Is
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, no. So I want to know, like, because for me, this was quite a struggle. So I want to know, like, how were you able, or are you able to accurately, like, recognize your needs according to things that matter to you, like your personality. We talked about love languages, your attachment style. Because, like, for me, it really, even for just like my love language, like I was back and forth. I was like, I think it's this. I think it's this. It is gifts. I love gifts. But like I feel like without knowing some core aspects of yourself,
Yeah.
you won't recognize what you actually need in order to feel loved. Because what you might need to feel loved might not be, just like as I said before, like what I was used to growing up, showing people love was not what my friends needed to feel loved.
Yes.
So how are you able to recognize those things?
Okay, so the biggest thing for me, and I think I'm kind of in that season, is spending time with myself and doing the things that things that I would typically do with other people, doing them with myself. And then exploring, like when you first start, you do the things that you've been used to doing with other people, and then you start finding more about yourself and seeing, I love going out to eat. And then you find out, okay, I love, like, the more you do those things by yourself, then you're more introspective, and then you find out more things that you could explore doing. So while you're out eating and doing a solo date, you could realize, you know what, I want to go see this movie.
Yeah.
And then you find genres of movies that you love, and like you do those things by yourself. And like, not saying to completely isolate yourself, that's not what I'm saying, but being more intentional in dating yourself, I think, is one thing that and you honestly, like in my personal experience, I've grown to love myself so much more and just like enjoy my own company.
Yeah.
And so anything else external is just an addition to what I already have inside. And I I have a ball with myself recently, and it's just like, I be giggling, kikiing myself. Like, it sounds crazy at first, and I literally used to gag at self-love.
Yeah.
Like I think about that. I'm just like, I used to the term self-love literally used to turn my stomach.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I just cringe. It was just so cringe to
Like,
me.
did it feel like that was something you already should have known or should have
No,
been
it just
doing,
felt, I don't know, I guess unrealistic and just like like it just, I think it was just deep-rooted low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And it was just like what the heck is that? Like, why would I, like, it just seemed so, so cringe to me. But now I'm just like, like I definitely see the value in doing that, and just, so I would say exploring what you like and exploring things that you already like to do with other people, and then finding out more things that you didn't know about yourself, and then doing those things by yourself as well. And so when other people come and try to love you, you know exactly how you want to be loved, because you've experienced those things without people being there.
Yeah, I think as you've said, like doing that introspection, I think what you'll find when you're digging and spending time with yourself is there's a lot of trauma that will just be, will just come to the surface. You know when you like boil chicken.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Was that the example?
I don't know. That's what came to my head.
She's saying I'm in the kitchen.
When you like boil chicken and all the residue and all the impurities come to the top, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that's what happens. And for me, that's what personally happened, because like when we grow up, our mind, like we have so much, but we just store it and we compartmentalize things, and we forget some of the things that are like core and important to us. Like at this age, the amount of life you've gone through, you're not going to remember everything you've enjoyed, you've experienced, that you valued until you start to search. And for me, it's like until I started to do that digging and then understanding some of the traumas that like I was keeping there, they're deep rooted of like disappointment and like seeing people that I thought were supposed to be there for me, and I thought were supposed to protect me, and I thought were supposed to celebrate me, not doing that. It led to a lot of like just not wanting anybody to do that because I just don't want to be disappointed
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And you won't realize that.
No.
You won't realize it until it comes up and until you pay attention to it. It'll just be like a pinging thing every time. That's what we'll get into,
Just
birthday
get
trauma.
triggered.
Every time like celebrating your birthday comes up, it's just like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I see so many
No.
guys so many guys that are just like, no, I don't care about my birthday. Like, I don't celebrate it. But if you ask them, it's because like they stopped celebrating their birthday from a long time ago, and it wasn't prioritized. The people that were
Around them.
that were supposed to be there to like teach them and like, you know, create those paths and create those memories for them, were not there to do that, unfortunately. And so for them, that was not prioritized. You know, it could be just like anything in anybody's life. If you are in a family where like everybody is taught how to drive from like 15 compared to somebody who, you know, maybe nobody in their family drives, or that's like a thing that you go and figure out on your own, that person is gonna struggle to develop that, right? Until it's like actually intentionally taught. And I think that's so important when I realized that like that was something that I like struggled with. And a lot of people, when it comes to birthday trauma, there's actually a definition for birthday trauma.
Is there? Because I was thinking about it. I was like, what even?
Okay, well, the definition was found through AI. So we love our AI. I said, what is the definition of birthday trauma? And let me read it. So it says, birthday trauma refers to the negative emotions that can arise from past experiences of feeling overlooked, ignored, or unimportant on one's birthday. Wow. It can result in feelings of anxiety, depression, loneliness, or anger around one's birthday, or even the weeks leading up to it. And I was just like, yeah, like you see this.
When everybody says birthday blues,
that's what it is. That's what it is.
Wow.
Because that's a known time or known season. And maybe if it's not birthdays, because like it doesn't mean you have to want a big celebration. But that's like one day where you are acknowledged. It's not about the balloons, the cake. It's about the acknowledgement, and it's about the recognition and knowing that you are loved in that way, right? Because you could put it in so many ways. Like it could be a date night or whatever, and never getting those things.
It can be intimate. It doesn't have to be. It's not the number of people. It's just the quality. And like seeing, do people know me? Like, you know, what type of gifts you get. It really is. Yeah, you're right. It is definitely a time that highlights your value to people, seem like the seemingly value that you have. And not to say that needs to be the defining thing for your relationships or for your value, but that's very important, right? Because when you look around on certain events, if you have people and friends that are just showing up when you're down and are not around when to celebrate you, like that's a concern. That's a red flag.
That's a big red flag. Like, why do you always know when I'm broke?
And you know, let me break it down for them. Those people are down. Those people only come to you when they're down because they're down. And so that's the only thing that they can relate or want to relate. They're celebrating you being down, but when you're up, they won't be there because they don't like to see you there. So it goes, it's very deep rooted and it's a red flag. So take note of that.
Like for me, I wouldn't say I had, actually no, that's a lie. I had birthday trauma because of how my birthdays were celebrated. Because I'm a very, like, gifts are very important to me, and not because of like receiving just material things, but it's because a gift to me is how much you know me. Like specifically to me, like acts of service, I'm working on it, but I'll do it myself. you know? The gift is like is something that like, you know, is going to help better me, something that I need, like something specific to me. Cause like to me in my head, an acts of service, like I could go and clean your car and like a lot of people would appreciate that. And that's an act of service, but I could have done it just because it's embarrassing for me to see you drive a dirty car. So in my head,
she said it to Nick.
Like, why are you driving a dirty car? So in my head, that's not like you're giving it to me, you know?
But what about a gift though? Like, what if they got you a toothbrush or something?
No. Okay, that's like you're just doing something.
Exactly.
Just like you got to do the gift like intentionally. Like there has to be some sort of like, this is Kaya, you know, behind it. And for me, I felt like my birthdays were never celebrated in that way. I felt like it was just kind of like, we just got to do it. Like, let's just do it. And so like some of my key birthdays that I remember was just like the gift of having my friends surprise me. And like friends that
Nice.
like I never expected to see, and like that was my heart's desire at that time, to
That's
see my
nice.
friends.
That's
And
nice.
so like to me that was like I cried on my, I think it was my 19th or my 20th birthday,
Oh,
just
not
like
crying. It's crazy.
you won't see it. You won't see it on camera, but you'll hear about it. But to me, that was like really big for me, right? And just like knowing what it is and doing that deep dive, which
Yeah.
is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that you said the gift of people showing up.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a material thing for you. It was just more like you wanted their presence, and
Yeah.
you just wanted them to be there to celebrate you in that way. And that was an intentional act from them. And so like it sounds like an act really, or just like quality time.
Yeah.
But to you that was just a gift of like presence,
Yeah. Yeah.
which meant a lot to you. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you ever experienced like a birthday or a significant time in your life where it seemed like the people you care about didn't show up
Show
for
up.
you in that way, or the way that you expected?
I would say I don't think I really set expectations a lot for people to show up truly, and so I don't think I get. And maybe it's gonna take a lot more introspection, but I don't think I get disappointed too much when it comes to like, especially birthdays. Like I'm not really a birthday person, and maybe that's saying a lot. Maybe I need to look into that
We'll get
one.
into that.
But I think so when it comes to birthdays, I'm more of like an intimate person,
Yeah.
and like I like to do just like, just a couple friends, and like I don't like being the center of attention.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, or like because then I'll just feel like I need to attend to people.
Yeah.
Like a birthday party is like my surprise birthday, even worse.
I've
like
literally had like all my birthdays were surprises. I'm just like,
that
I
sounds
was like, do you guys know
awful.
me?
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
I literally tell you guys I hate surprises.
that sounds awful, because then I'm like, I'm not prepared to host the people.
My friends
Like
listening to this.
Yeah, but so for me, I haven't been. I just love I love to be part of the planning or like anything, and like I think the best birthday that I had was like a trip with my friends and just a couple friends, which it was an experience for everyone.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't think I've technically had a traumatic birthday, but I think when it comes to more like special
Significant events.
holidays or whatever, I think it
yeah.
would be like more Christmas, where I maybe had expectations of like gifts I would be receiving or like what it would look like, and then it wasn't like that just didn't happen. And so now I'm not really I still kind of I get feelings around Christmas time.
Is
that
gifts
are
one of
not-
your love languages, or?
No, and I'm not gonna disclose that
Okay.
so that people don't start doing things because they know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the one for me would be around like holiday. I think it's very common, like holiday trauma as well, where it's like the gathering of families and friends and like people like maybe you don't see often.
Yeah.
And then you have to like deal with all the feelings that you've been avoiding or like whatever. So yeah, I would say definitely like yeah, I don't think I've really felt overlooked
Yeah.
during birthdays, but I think definitely the part of being more introspective
Yeah.
during your birthday, I think that's a big thing. It's like, oh, by this time, not by this time, but like this time last year I thought I'd be further, or like things haven't happened than at this age that I thought would happen, and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think it's more maybe internal disappointment than external disappointment for me. So that could be traumatic. That could be traumatic.
No, that is, and I think I kind of talked about this in like in the first episode of this season, and like for me, I don't know where I heard it from. I think I was listening to one event, and I just saw like a bunch of middle-aged ladies complaining about their age, and it just struck me so much. And I'm just, from that moment, I'm just like, I never want to complain about my age. Like I never want to be the person that is wishing to be 21 or wishing to be this. And from then, like I genuinely hate regret. I don't like regretting things, because it just keeps you stagnant.
Yeah.
Like regret is like
Keeps you in the past.
Yeah, you're forever living in the past, or you're anxious for the future. Like you can't be present, and it's just like you're always thinking, okay, this is not good right now, but like let's go to tomorrow, let's go to tomorrow, let's go to tomorrow comes from today. And so like I deeply hate regret. And so every year like specifically, I think this is why I've been enjoying my birthday more, is like I make it intentional throughout the year to like be present. Like I literally have to like remind myself, like, you were in April, you were in this day, like this is what has happened. And just like reminding myself and embracing everything that's happened, like thankful, like being grateful, right? Because I hate to come around and like think that I've lost or that I haven't made it far. And you don't underestimate like how regret and that like birthday depression can really pull you back. Because I've seen some people and it's just like they sit and realize like, what is there to celebrate? You know, but you can't wait until that day. You have to celebrate life every day. And it sounds so corny.
No, but it's so true. It's so true. And like when you're even saying stuff about, you know, I'm in April, I'm in like just
like I literally have to like I have
because
to
I feel like I'm just up in the air. Like, I don't know, like, it just feels like I'm not grounded sometimes in my present. And it's like, I think when you're wishing for more, when you're not grateful for where you're at, you're always just on the go. And like, just in your head thinking about what's next,
or what happened,
or like, even if you don't like your current circumstances, you don't ground yourself in where you're at. And so your life just passes by, and then you get to a birthday which almost like grounds you to like, this is how much time this is how much time has passed, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like what has happened this year? Nothing has happened, but like stuff could have happened. You just haven't had like recollection
or stuff did happen
you haven't celebrated, or you haven't, you know, you haven't shared with people, and you haven't like, so that you're right, like grounding yourself and being present and like gives you something to celebrate by your birthday. And like, even if you technically haven't done anything, just life seasons are something to celebrate, like coming out of something, coming out of a depressive state, coming out of, you know, a time of stagnation where you had no job or school or whatever. Like you can definitely celebrate if you know of them, like if you're conscious of them, you can celebrate those things about your life at your birthday. And I think like, this is really dragging me because I've been in that. I think it's really funny because I've been in that state where I'm like, I don't really want to celebrate my birthday, like, and it's not really because of anything. I'm just like, like, what's the point?
But you kind of don't want to get to that point. You don't want to, because you know that it's gonna be like, what do we really do?
And it's like not even about the people, but just more about like a personal, like internal thing again. Like I don't want to have that internal disappointment of like, oh, another year has gone by and I like didn't reach my goals, or I'm not as far as I want to be. But like, there's a lot of things that have happened this year that if I think, you know, spending more time with myself, I'm more grounded. And so I could recognize those things. And I think those things are definitely worth celebrating.
That's good. And I think that just goes back to the point of showing up for yourself.
Yes.
If you can't, like, so many people will go about life expecting people to show up for them, and expecting people. And like, that's the point of relationships, but it starts with you. Like you genuinely cannot expect anybody to show up for you if you haven't done that. And that's where it comes in, like, remembering and like big up yourself, like your experiences, the things that you've done. That's why I advocate whether it's journaling, like whether it's like writing in your calendar, whatever it is, however you want to remember what you've accomplished, remember what you've gone through, what you've done, what you've overcome, the goals and all that stuff. And that is showing up for yourself, because if you can't celebrate your accomplishments, how will you expect other people to? Because that's like you have low self-esteem, and you're not able to say like, I did that, you know, I said I was going to apply to school and I did that and I got in, right? If you're not able to celebrate yourself, no matter how many people come and say, wow, congrats, like, you're not gonna you're gonna be like, it's not enough people.
And even if it's like it would just be an event, not a celebration. Like, let's say you have a dinner and people are there celebrating you because they're proud of you. If you're not proud of yourself, you're just going to be there like, this is just another thing.
Because if you want to look for reasons to feel sad, you'll find them. If you look for them,
there's
you'll
many.
find them.
There's many. There'll be many.
Like,
but there's many more things to be grateful and proud of yourself about as well.
And I think like it definitely starts with yourself. Otherwise, that's where things like offense creep in relationships and friendships, and you'll be sitting there with low self-esteem, and you know, you'll be envying other people, you'll be comparing like, oh, but they did this for that friend, or they did this for this sibling,
Yeah.
or this person is always celebrated, or this person
Yeah.
always, but it's just like, it starts with yourself.
Yeah,
Like for,
absolutely.
and that's just showing up for yourself. Like for
Absolutely.
me, like doing this podcast consistently is showing up for myself. Like,
And big ups to you.
Thank
It's
you.
not, guys.
It's
let
not
me,
easy.
especially by yourself. Yeah, y'all better like, comment, and subscribe.
Period.
Because it's not an easy thing. Yeah. So big ups to you.
Like
big ups to
honestly,
you.
like showing up for yourself every day, like pursuing your career, like
Yeah.
studying, that is showing
Yeah.
up for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, going to the gym, that's genuinely showing up for
Yes,
yourself, doing the
yes.
things that you know are gonna better you and
Yeah.
what you care about, and giving them 100%.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, I'm gonna give it 50 and I expect other people to fill the
Or
other
you're
50.
going to do more for other people than you do for yourself.
Yes.
Like you pouring from an empty well will leave you drained at the end of the day, and it'll also pull you back.
Yeah.
Further, because you think, oh, filling other people will further my relationship. But if you're
Yeah.
not filling yourself, and if you're not opening up yourself to receive love,
Yeah.
then it actually pushes your relationship back, because then it brings resentment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I'm pouring into other people, but other people aren't pouring into me.
Yeah.
Are you letting them pour into you?
Yeah.
Do you know how you want to be poured into, right? So I think it's very important that as you're filling other people up, you're doing that the same for yourself.
And I think a lot of people, maybe underlying it could be like not wanting to be a burden and thinking, oh, like I don't want to, like I don't want to have to tell people, like it's not that important.
They should know.
Yeah, or they should know. Because for me, that's what it was a lot of the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like my friends will ask me about something, and I'm like, oh, like I didn't think it was that important, but deep inside, you know.
And I'm like, you should. I'm
You
the type
know
of
that
person
it's
where I'm like,
important to you.
I don't want to have to tell you. Like, I want you to just know and just like
Yeah.
see that it is. But again, like communication is important, and just sometimes just leaving things plain, and then it gives people something to work with.
Yeah.
Because as much as like you're also always changing, right? And you never know what you wanted this year may be different from what you want last year. What you wanted in a different season may be different from what you want in this season, right? And so people may just inquire, and that's okay, because then they're able to accurately
Yeah.
be there for you and celebrate you the way you want to be celebrated.
No, it's interesting. I was watching this Amazon Prime show. It's like a solos. They have like different like well-known and excellent actors that do these like short segments. And there was one with this elderly lady, and pretty much it was like far in the future. She signed up to do some experiment where they want to send like elderly people to space to test something, but pretty much you go to space, you're never coming back.
Oh, man.
So she signed up for it, and she's like in the pod talking and telling her life story, and pretty much like both her parents ended up dying, and she pretty much devoted her life to like raising her little brother. She spent so much time raising her brother, and like as the show goes on, like her main phrase is like, I don't want to be a burden, or I don't want to be trouble. Like I don't want to, you know, and like she explains a time where she was asked to go to prom by some guy, and like she thought he was just being nice. He even came to her door to like bring her flowers and take her to prom, and she shut the door. It's like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be, you know. And then years later, she sees him in the grocery store with his family, and like she just breaks down within her, sad, because she's like looking at her life pass her by. And so now all these years, she's like 70 something years later, and like as she's floating away in space, realizing that like I spent my whole life trying not to be a burden and showing up for other people, but not showing up for myself, not doing the things that I wanted, not going after things that I love. And now I have so much resentment towards those people.
Yes.
Like she didn't
Yes.
realize, she thought like, oh no, like, and that people pleasing
Yes.
trait, or
Yes.
not wanting to
Yes.
be a burden,
Yes.
it fills you with resentment.
Yes. Yes.
It fills you with, as you're seeing other people go, move forward, because you
Show up for other
show
people.
up for other people,
Yeah.
because you can't communicate, because you can't be honest with how
Wow.
you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like it'll really have time passing
that,
you
and
by.
being that burden one is a huge thing for a lot of different people, and I think it comes from like your family dynamics and like how you grew up, right? But I think when people show you that they want to be there for you, it
Let
means
them.
Exactly, it means that you're not being a burden to them. And
Yeah.
like my friends will even tell me plainly, like, you're not being that, or like other people in my life will let me know, like, you're not being that. But I just have a mentality of like, that is what I am. And so
Yeah.
anything that will take up space, time, anything of resources, I never want to put people in that position, right? But I think, again, it's opening up yourself. As much as it may it may feel uncomfortable at first, I think the more that you do it, the more that it just feels more natural. And like, and as well, you're pointing to them. I think having that, reminding yourself, like, you're not just taking.
Yeah.
I think that's also something that can help someone that's coming from a deep place of like, I'm a burden, right?
Yeah.
I think letting yourself, reminding yourself that you're also pouring into them, like you also mean you're valuable to them, you're adding value, right? You're not just sucking them dry.
Yeah.
It's a mutually beneficial thing.
Yeah.
Not transactional, but mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I agree. I think the last thing that I'll like touch on, if you want to say anything else, is just like being able to discern that feeling of forgottenness or loneliness or, you know, being looked over. Is like, there's often times where maybe that feeling is real, and maybe, you know, either that friendship needs to end or there needs to be some sort of communication to now fix what has been happened. Or that could just be, as we've talked about extensively, is, you know, a character development that needs to happen in that season. Things, that season has changed, or you yourself, you have not matured in order to communicate and navigate that situation. Or it could be like pressure. You know, the enemy likes to put pressure on people to now start seeing and feeling things to make them isolate and withdraw. Especially when take note of when you're in a critical season. A critical season when your life is going up, where you need that support, where you need those crucial people, and you're feeling pressure and you're looking around and saying, these people don't support me, they don't love me. That could be pressure from the enemy trying to make you isolate.
Absolutely.
And I know, because, you know, sometimes that likes to be my trait of isolating. And you think you're doing yourself a service. You're doing yourself.
I'm putting my head down. I'm trying to focus.
You're doing yourself the biggest disservice. Like, it's something to, like, you know, maybe take things down a notch and, you know, focus, but keep those people around. You need that support. You cannot, even that African proverb, who knows if it's even African proverb, of you can go, if you want to go fast, you know, you can go fast, but like,
you can't go far.
Not even, you can't even go, like, you'll go fast for like a second, like that speed does not have endurance. Right? Like, it does not have quickly. You'll burn out quickly, and like you'll even retract more than you like go forward. So it's just like knowing that you need people, and knowing that you often have to, you know, step up to the plate. This is being a man. Being a man.
I know Kaya always coming for the male. Like, it's always.
I actually don't come for that.
No replay and know how many times she's.
I actually don't. Listen, there's other men coming for the men. Yemi came for them. I just sat there and said,
go on.
No, but generally, this is being strong. Like, being weak is running away from these things.
Facts. People are your reinforcements for sure, and like, you can't be strong on your own. And I don't know why Kaya become for the men, because the babes do it too. Like, hard babe is a real identity.
I used to be a hard babe guy.
I still am a hard babe. I'm still there. I'm growing out of it though, but like, saying like I'm good on my own is like a huge, it's just like you're putting up walls, but like it can easily be knocked down.
The walls will
and just
crumble
like a domino effect. You just, everything just
kata
right in front of your face. But like, like, people really hold you up when you're falling apart. But like, when you're falling apart, and honestly, like, obviously we hope that never happens, right? But there's seasons in your life when you're going through life transitions, lots of things happening, lots of things are uncertain, and people, and again, like, it's not a thing that you should completely depend on, but you should definitely have it in seasons where you're going, like, there's a lot of things going on, right? And they keep you grounded in those seasons where, you know, lots of changes could almost confuse your identity, right? They can keep you, like, remind you of who you are, where you've come from, where you're going, because these are people that
grounding you.
Exactly, these are people that can see beyond where you, like, where you are now, when, you know, there's rubbles and there's like there's so much unknown. They can have that vision for you, and like, you know, remind you of those things and keep you up in those times. So
that's so important.